Supposing God establishes his power and convinces us all that he is infinitely powerful, and that makes us afraid. And he says, I want unity and good behavior in the family, and so we do cooperate. Is that worth much? Now, the tendency in all religions is to be afraid of God. Isn't that why he's offered so many things to win his favor and appease his anger? And why in Colossians and Ephesians and elsewhere were they doing all these things? Was it not they understood that God required it? Taste not, touch not, handle not, all the rest. You better do it, you better do it. You better be circumcised, you better keep the Sabbath. But they weren't doing it for the right reason. It was the obedience that springs from law, which is often the obedience that springs from fear. Can you really have unity and peace and harmony in the family? This unity that's inherent in our faith and our knowledge of the Son of God, can you have that when we're all afraid? Must not fear be eliminated? Now, how does the cross eliminate fear? Does the cross tell us something about law, the God who has used law so much, and what the real violation of law is, and why he says, now that you understand this, and why I've given you all these laws, you shouldn't go around condemning people who don't keep them. For example, if we are convinced that heavy smoking can well produce lung cancer, should we go around condemning smokers? I mean, why condemn them? They're losing. Why condemn them for it? If the seventh-day Sabbath was given to remind us of the truth that is the basis of our faith and is really a monument to freedom, if, as we sometimes describe the Sabbath, is that true, should we go around condemning people who don't keep the Sabbath? No, they're losing something that's very beneficial. Why would you condemn them? Or a man who isn't eating right and is reaping the consequences, why condemn him? I don't find doctors condemning their patients. They try to help them. And I think that's the realization when we realize that all the commands that God has ever given were designed for our best good because we needed them. Now, he wished we didn't need them. So he's given us all these things to help us. When people don't keep those commandments, should we condemn them? They're losing out on the benefits of all these things. And God says, I don't condemn them, but they're missing all his help. This all. And so, see, sin is not the violation of an arbitrary rule. Sin is a breach of trust that comes from failing to allow the Spirit of truth to convince us of what God is like and then being honest with it. God is like not only a physician but a father, and because of our predicament, he's even had to tell us, don't hate people. That's a terrible thing to have to tell you. Even say, and please don't kill people. Please, could you agree with me? I mean, I want all the murdering and the adultery and the immorality and cheating and stealing to stop. We were all in a pretty sorry mess when he had to talk like that. But that wasn't even enough. He had to spell it out in tiny detail. But it's only because he wanted to help us. When people are unwilling to accept God's assistance, should we condemn them? Are they losing out already anyway? So I think the relief at the cross is it's the relief from condemning other people. The one who knows this much about God and has been able to make sense out of all his instructions and realizes God values nothing higher than our freedom and apologizes for all these rules, it's just that we needed them. When somebody is not leading a life that will lead to eternal life and all the rest, why condemn the man who isn't going to have any more than 5 more years in this life? Why condemn him? It brings great freedom, and that's why the picture of the healer, the physician, is the most eloquent picture possible. And I believe is why we were led by someone who understood this larger view as a church to get involved in the practice of the healing arts. Doctors don't condemn their patients. They may have earnest words with them, and may have to write it down on paper. Do it now. If they, and maybe have to phone them up and remind them. May have to warn them. May have to show pictures of the awful results of being careless in this regard. Yes, that's what the cross is. It's a terrible picture of the awful consequences of persisting in a rebellious, unloving, untrustworthy way of life. Jesus was made to be sin, though he knew no sin. And that's how God's children will die. And he'll give them up. What else can he do? They've refused his help. Then we look at all his laws in an entirely new light. They're not a threat to our freedom at all.